This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. How dare you?
How dare you?
Fuck! Guys, I know something we can all agree about is how badly we fucked ourselves when it comes to the well-being of our planet. Actually, no, apparently we can all agree on that. For all we know, when the Lorax came to warn us about fucking shit up, somebody probably turned him into a rug or some shit. So now I'm not here to tell you about how badly we were screwed when it comes to the global warming, because I've already done that like a year ago. I'm here to say,
How dare you?
no, I'm just kidding. I think Gollum already did a good job of doing that. Today, on our first 3M Thought Back, we're going to talk about how we can potentially save the planet. And guys, if I'm going to be totally honest, it's kind of a fucking long shot. We gotta morph into like the fucking Power Rangers or some shit to like have any effective chance of making a difference. And that brings us to our first point. So everyone knows the first step in addressing a problem is, acknowledging that there is a problem. For example, say you make poorly researched YouTube videos that you think are entertaining. Clearly you have some trauma in your life which causes you to turn to this outlet. Sometimes you just gotta take a step back and acknowledge that your mom doesn't love you. So similarly, if we want to have any chance of beating climate change, we gotta get ass cracks like these on board. But Uncle Procrastium, you'd assume that in our day and age, with our technological capabilities, you think everyone would be on board. So why don't these fuckknuckles believe it's real? So from what I've researched, the following are some reasons why people think it's a hoax. So, okay, this one's more of an assumption, but I'm gonna go out on a whim and say some of these fuckers who say they don't believe really do believe but are motivated by greed and other reasons to the extent that they don't care. So, fun fact, I actually wrote my PhD thesis on the clogged toilet phenomenon, which basically describes the apathy of a person who destroys a toilet and leaves it for the next person to clean up. This can be seen in the old farts today who seem to always be running shit, denying climate change, knowing damn well that they're one fart away from dying themselves, so they don't have to worry about it. So these are some of the most common arguments against climate change. So the first one being that climate has changed before. While this is true, scientists say that climate reacts to whatever forces it to change. And right now, we're those fuckers. Oh, but it's still cold. Well, Dick Brain, a single day in your hometown of Stupidville doesn't contradict average temperature changes. Another argument is that the CO2 we produce isn't actually enough to impact the equilibrium. Well, it is because the CO2 we produce disturbs the natural CO2 cycle, which adds and removes CO2 from the atmosphere to keep a balance. Basically, the CO2 we add as extra isn't able to be removed. And there are thousands of other arguments that can be falsified using science and facts. Okay, so theoretically, we managed to get everyone on board. That's step one. Now what? Well, to be honest, I don't really know. I didn't think we'd get this far. I was really counting on shit ending in 2012. So if we take a step back and analyze what the fuck we're actually doing that's causing all this shit, we'll come to the conclusion that it's one major thing, and that is non-renewable energy consumption. And of course there are hundreds of other causes, but that's what we'll focus on today. So logically, we have to address this big thing if we want to have a real chance of fighting back against climate change. So addressing the big dog, we come to fossil fuel consumption. Now, I'm no teacher, well, I kinda am. And I assume most of you know the basics of the greenhouse effect, but basically the more carbon dioxide we release, the more heat from the sun gets trapped in the atmosphere. Basically, it's like your mom telling you to put on more layers, not because you feel cold, but because she wants you to die from heat exhaustion. Also, she's not your mom. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you to start walking to work, because although something is better than nothing, we need something big. The best thing we can do is switch completely over to renewable energy sources and electric transportation. Now, you don't have to remind me of how unfeasible that is. It's expensive, like really expensive. But honestly, if every third person sold their soul, it could be possible. Or maybe if every SoundCloud rapper who flexes about how rich they are contributed, it could be possible. If we manage to somehow swap out coal, petroleum, and natural gas with things like hydroelectricity, nuclear energy, solar, wind, and etc., it would make a big difference. Approximately 41% of the world's energy consumption is coal-based and 22% is natural gas-based. If we swap out gasoline and diesel-powered cars with electrics, that would also make a huge difference. However, obviously, there are a lot of complications that will come with making these switches. For example, more electric cars means the need for more electricity, and the need for more electricity means more energy production and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? One of the biggest solutions could be if we somehow develop a way to utilize fusion power, which is basically a method which involves harnessing the power released from fusing two atoms together, and has no radioactive waste like traditional nuclear power. It works how the sun works, and with it, we could basically beat the game. We could have unlimited clean energy. However, the problem right now is that we physically cannot contain that energy. The reactors which do exist use more energy in containing the energy than the total amount of energy produced. So say we manage to theoretically completely switch over to clean energy, or we manage a way to figure out fusion power. What now? Well, we'll still have to deal with things such as our garbage crisis, mass extinctions, and ecosystem losses. But unfortunately, guys, here's the bad news. Even if we manage to completely cut down CO2 emissions, the CO2 that we've already released into the atmosphere will cause the planet to continue to heat up, and will effectively only be slowing down the process. Now, I know what you're thinking, what's the point of anything if we're gonna be fucked in the end either way? Well, stupid, think of it this way. The time we buy for ourselves can be used in preparing and adapting for the changes which are to come. So that's about it. But Uncle Procrastium, you're saying we're screwed either way? What about our kids? Well, it's simple, don't have them. Think about this, okay? If every human in the world stopped reproducing, we could stop the cause of global warming. Dickheads like us. And you know what? At least we'd go out on our own terms. Till next time, peace.